Hello there, beautiful people. Welcome back to Weaves of Waves. Did you miss me? I know, I've been doing a lot of reading. Yeah. And I've been reading some really weird stuff. I've always been into the weird and wonderful, the metaphysical side of things. I'm taking it to another level. I'm learning so much about sort of the world that we're in as well. God, it's just like I've got a whole new series coming out, sort of about the hidden worlds, because oh dear, there's so much information. This world that we live in is a lot more complicated than I thought. I'm like, wow, I'm 50 years old. How did I not see this? Maybe I could see the patterns, but once you find the initial, I don't know, entrance, I guess. Okay, so let's start. Let's start with little bits, little fragments that I've been looking at. Now, one of the first fragments is humans are really, really badly designed. Okay, humans are really, really badly put together. So when you start looking at how we are biologically formed and what is the difference between us and everything on the planet, and you're like, whoa, there is huge differences. And it all depends where you go. Scientists and, yeah, it all depends on where you are looking for this. But we are very different from anything else on this world. Obviously, look where we are in comparison. And I'm not going to go into all of it because, quite frankly, it's a huge subject and it's not my special field. But we are biologically different from everything on this planet. We're mentally different from everything on this planet. Okay, I've always known that, but someone's put it together in a nutshell, and it's like, wow, that's fascinating. Because then you start to look at the spiritual side of things, and the fact that our physical eyes cannot see the whole spectrum. We see a very, very minimum of spectrum of light anyway, so we're not even aware. We can't see, we can't sense half the stuff, let alone we see a fraction of what is actually out there, and that alone is another piece of the puzzle. Okay, so there was that. Then there is like the predatory force. Are we all like matrix batteries? Human batteries just giving off life force. Okay, that's another piece of the puzzle. The puzzle is there, and I've been collecting pieces. I don't have the full pattern yet. That's the excitement. That's the end of the journey. But, okay, so again, we can't see everything that's going on around us. We can't feel everything. My intuition has led me to where I am now. So I have to close my eyes because my eyes are fairly weak. And that again, one piece of the information I came across that was awesome was the fact that we are meant to have come from East Africa. Humans are meant to evolve from East Africa, and one of the prime life forces down there are big cats. Now I have a cat and he's bringing in dead creatures all the time. There is no way humans would have survived. I can't outrun a big cat. It can climb trees. I wouldn't even be able to see it coming. My eyesight's so poor. So how on earth did humans actually survive coming out of just East Africa? Oh, we would have been cat food. But that was one of the things. It's like all the history that I learnt, and I remember liking history. I would have learnt all the human history. And I was looking at once becoming an archaeologist. I enjoyed, and an anthropologist, where people come from. It's all bollocks. There is so much that they are missing because it doesn't fit their timelines. Now, again, I remember reading bits of this for decades. Zachariah Sitchin, Graham Hancock. There was a guy, that South African guy, wrote a whole bunch of things, Michael something. But yeah, the information has been there, and then you just start putting it together. Okay, hypothetically speaking, now trust me, I don't believe with all my heart that this is true. I think that it is part of the puzzle, and that it leads you down to a very, very lovely, beautiful, interesting, fascinating rabbit hole. So, hypothetically speaking, if we as a human race was created and then played with And we've always been played with. And this new era that we're all in is another playing with. If they, and I'm using that in quotes because they is a very deep topic. Are we talking about God? Are we talking about aliens? Are we talking about a race of humans that have evolved? They is like a huge rabbit hole. I don't know. I just sense that there is a they. Because nobody seems to know down here. We're all speculating. And this is just a big speculation. And all I'm doing is putting the puzzle pieces together. So, okay, they pulled us together. And they didn't do too well a job. Okay? Technically speaking, we're only meant to live, 40, 50 years? Yeah, we have the smarts to sort of extend that, and we're trying. Or maybe it was implanted. Our neurons and stuff, they fire off. They have been interfering right the way through our human history. That's fine. That actually makes a lot of sense. They are still interfering. So we're just lab rats. I don't like that at all. But yeah, it's an interesting thing, because if they are bioengineering us, we don't mean anything to them. They can kill off our elderly, kill off our children. They've been doing that for 500,000 years. That's of what we got of recorded history of what the archaeologists say that humans have been around. So they are definitely predatorial. They don't give a fuck about anything. They play God. Whether they are God, they play God, don't know. And it's a very interesting wave field that once you start looking for them, I'm not saying it's a good idea, because it's like looking for things that you shouldn't see, but they hold a lot of the answers, and it's a negative flow. I don't say they're all one group either, because they have fractions of, their field is very different. In other words, some of the fields are quite positive. So you have the law of grace, you have the law of compassion, of empathy. Another word for it would be the Christ consciousness, but I'm not that fond of that word. Let's just keep it to the law of grace. Mercy. And then there's the opposites, which use us as food source, and we're just data receiving things. I cannot believe, I don't want to believe, that we are being depopulated. Agenda 21, all that depopulation, nah. Otherwise, no. There is a methodology here. I don't know what it is, but people are not dying off because either they've been not vaxxed or have been vaxxed. All right? There isn't a mass culling going on. Now, maybe I'm slow. Maybe that'll happen in the winter. Scientists are very, very polarized right now. And that's why I am anti-science. Hey, I hate science. Science is ridiculous. They tell me two things and it's contradictory. So you listen to one scientist and he says one thing, and another scientist, she says another thing. And I'm like, well, they're both qualified. Which one am I meant to... So, in other words, yes, science is bollocks. Science goes through who is the overpaying for them. And I have problems with that. It's one of the puzzle pieces that is... You can't look at a scientist. You can't take a teacher, or it's like a guru. When I was young and naive and innocent, I used to think that gurus were amazing teachers, and I used to follow them, and I thought they were amazing. And after you've been seduced by one or two of them, and you've been an idiot quite a lot, you realise that they're just humans, and they're just going out for what they can get. Scientists are the gurus of the new religion. And I'm not a followers of these cults. That's not my thing. So when you have a they that is influencing science and influencing politics, you know it's not about health anymore. You do. You look at it, this is sweet politics. And it's like, fine, that's just a power struggle. I can deal with that. That's just on one level. But then you watch how people are crumpling under the impact of this. And that's sad. And there's talk about whether it's the masculine and the feminine out of balance. And again, I think red herring, red herring, red herring. And maybe we're not all getting our pronouns right, that basically God is marking of some of them with the beast. And again, I don't like Christian mythology. I don't like Christian prophecy very much, because you can find prophecy anywhere, I guess. So, yeah, why not in the Bible? I prefer bumps on the head somewhere, or entrails. My cat can bring in a mouse and we can check its entrails if you like. But, okay, I'm being facetious. So, yeah, there is like so much depth to this that once you go down the rabbit hole, you're looking at frequencies and energetics and neurons and microneurons, microbots and things like neurotechnology, things that I don't fully understand, and I don't think I ever will, because it's like trying to find the right sort of language that I can understand. And as much as I can see the frequencies, I still don't see the whole. They're still just pieces of the puzzle. So if we're not being depopulated, maybe we're being controlled, or maybe we're just being mined. If you look back to the Zachariah Sitchin stuff, which was humans were created to mine to mine the gold out of South Africa and Zimbabwe and places. That was at the beginning of time. Now we're like being mined for our genetic material, our neurological impacts. If they are trying to read minds, okay? Now, if you want to know where I'm getting all this, go look at the Higher Side Chats. It's a podcast. There are all kinds of podcasts going on, and a lot of it is speculation. Don't get me wrong, I'm not following these things religiously. But if we are being mined for the data, for our thought process, for our neurological consciousness, therefore, if they can make the human body really, really uncomfortable, and then say, hey, how about we transfer your consciousness out of this flawed human body of yours that is in so much pain and riddled with and could die at any minute. Supposing we put you into an AI body. Supposing we put you into a robotic body, and then you can merge your consciousness with the AI. I know these are all like really, really far-fetched. Arthur C. Clarke never even looked this far. But what an awesome concept. I have no problem with people trying to read my thoughts and read my minds. I can't read my own mind half the time, so someone else trying to do it, trying to translate my thoughts into ones and zeros, good luck to them. I can understand it's a huge process. But they're trying to bridge the gap between electricity and electrical and neurons and consciousness. They're trying to play God. And it's the ultimate game. And when you start linking up computer games, entertainment industry, movies, science fiction movies, horror movies, all those, politics, and then into the science realms of basically the cult of science, where, if somebody pays you a lot of money, you can go and slice up babies and stuff. There are pieces of the pattern there, quite a lot of them. And then it's the Wetiko and the predatory spirit and the other dimensions and things like that. Look at the patterns that are emerging from this. And I can't even find some of them are so far out. I mean, I thought I was used to far out, but some of them are so far out that I am gobsmacked. I'm like reeling with it. But as I said, this is going down the rabbit hole. I'm going to start putting this down into a little bit more cohesive. This is just me going into reaction from it. I want to take out the bits and pieces from it, the solid stuff. Whether it's solid just for me or just solid, you can't go and back these things up. You can't go find some reputable peer-reviewed papers, because quite frankly they're all in each other's pockets, and I don't respect that. I don't respect the medical community anymore either. There is no way I'd go to a hospital or anything if I have a problem. If I break my arm or leg, maybe they're pretty good at the A&E. But the doctors and nurses of my country, England, Britain, are so full of shit these days. They have the majority. Okay, there's one or two of them stand out that I think they're awesome, but the majority of the medical industry in my country is disgusting me. They are beyond perverted. I mean, like, what the fuck, guys? They disgust me so much that this is why I'm looking elsewhere. I can't deal with half the things that are going on in the world, whether it's Australia, Israel, Ireland. It is not someplace I can look and think, what is going, I can't stay sane, to be honest. So that's why I'm going down the rabbit hole. There has to be a reason. For the last year and a half, I've looked for reasons. It doesn't make sense, okay? But somewhere it must do. So that is where I'm going to. When I'm going into the hidden worlds, I'm going into the worlds to look for a reason of what the fuck is going on in this world. I talk too long, and this may be a bit all over the place, but yeah, I do love you lots, and I want you to take care of yourselves and each other more than ever before. And this is taking care of yourself, because you need to be fucking strong. You cannot afford to fall apart right now. This is what you were born for. I'm firmly convinced we were created. We as humans, right, were created, right, by maybe not that intelligent force. Maybe it was just some scientists messing around with a lab, but we were created, right? And we can either say, okay, we will go along with this. What's next on our creators list? Oh, we can say, fuck you. I'm more than this. I'm more than my creator. So much more to explore. But I do love you lots. Bye now.